Or how do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
I mean, what he's doing is, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him.
Haven't seen Gervonta Davis in another sexual assault allegation, lawsuits incoming, potentially criminal charges levied. We don't know yet, but we know that fight is up in the air, and I think that fight's not going to happen, and they're going to either have to move the fight back or they're going to have to look to a replacement or both. I don't know.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement.
Floyd Mayweather has once again caused a stir in the boxing world by calling out Jake Paul after Gervonta "Tank" Davis's fight was called off because Tank is still having legal problems. Mayweather has made it clear that he is ready to fight Jake. This time, he says it will be a real fight, not just a show. He also made it clear that he wasn't going to move up pan weight, which meant that if the match does happen, it will be played by professional standards. Fans are very excited about Floyd's sudden call-out, and many of them can't wait to see if he is really getting ready for a real return to the ring.
Died down some, but at the time, people badly wanted you and Jake Paul to fight. Is he someone you're interested in, or no?
Well, if you go back, you got to do your homework. Look on the internet. I think he was doing a sit down on a podcast one time, and he talked about it. He said, I don't want to do an exhibition against Floyd Mayweather. Yeah. He said, I'm only doing real fights. And of course, I can't get up high in weight, but I'll fight him in a real fight at the weight that I'm at. But Jake Paul, as of right now, for what he's doing, it's good for what he's doing. But once he fights a real fighter, it's going to be bad.
Have you been impressed?
But one thing I like about him, one thing I do like about him, he's selling it. He's selling it, and he's making good money, and he's entertaining. I like it.
Davis's much-anticipated showdown with Jake Paul has been called off because of the lawsuit and the investigation that follow. His promoter, Most Valuable Promotions, said in a statement that they were looking into what happened and have decided not to go ahead with the show.
If you know the situation, it was supposed to be boxing Gervonta "Tank" Davis, a man that weighs 133 pounds or 135. Regardless, it's a man that is way, way smaller than Jake Paul. So that is just ridiculous, and I'll give you my thoughts on that before anyway. But now it turns out that Gervonta Davis has some allegations about domestic abuse. I don't know too much about the situation, but apparently Netflix have pulled the plug on that fight. It says, here's a tweet I'm reading from Mike Coppinger. As reported, Jake Paul's return could shift to December, with the November 14th Netflix exhibition in jeopardy due to the latest allegations against Gervonta Davis. Sources tell Ring Magazine that December 12th and the 19th are possibilities, right?
Courtney Rosal, Davis's ex-girlfriend, has filed a civil claim against him for something that she says happened on October 27th at a Miami nightclub where she works. Russell's filing says Davis is guilty of battery, aggravated battery, false imprisonment, kidnapping, and causing mental distress on purpose. According to the complaint, Davis dragged and beat her in several parts of the club, such as the kitchen, the parking garage, and the stairs. In Miami Gardens, police say that an investigation is still going on at the same time as the legal case.
Baltimore boxing champion Gervonta "Tank" Davis faces new abuse claims from a woman who claims to be his ex-girlfriend. This is according to our media partner, the Baltimore Banner. Courtney Russell says she dated Davis for 5 months and recently filed a civil lawsuit accusing him of aggravated battery, false imprisonment, and other offenses. She claims Davis physically attacked her a number of times during their relationship. Russell claims the most recent incident was Monday at a Miami nightclub. Davis is scheduled to fight Jake Paul in Miami on November 14th.
Recently, Chael Sonnen spoke out about the chaos surrounding the rumored cancellation of the fight between Jake Paul and Gervonta "Tank" Davis. He said that he had personally contacted both groups to find out the truth. Sonnen says that he called people from both Jake's team and Tank's team to find out if the reports were true, but no one from either team could give him a straight answer. He said that their silence made people think that something very bad was going on behind the scenes. Sonnen said that when both fighters don't reject a cancellation, it usually means there's more going on than meets the eye. He suggested that the problem might not just be with the schedule, but with legal and promotional issues as well.
Tank has one job to do, which is to let anybody know that's listening that it doesn't make any difference, that boxing is a real sport. My skills versus your skills, of which I am an abundance of and of which you have none of. My life's commitment and dedication versus a second or third or fourth thought in the world of priority on your list. And I used to believe those things. Now, I go back far enough in MMA that I've had my eyes open a number of times. The fact that karate was so incredibly useless, or the fact that Jeet Kune Do was so incredibly useless, like these were not things that I would have bet on when I was in high school. As a wrestler at that time, I would not have assumed that I would fare well in a fight against somebody that knew Kung Fu. We had all been falsely led through Hollywood. Not through competition, not through sport, not through understanding of the game, but just through Hollywood. We were told that those guys were the most dangerous guys. So, we then eventually get up to Conor McGregor versus Floyd Mayweather, which had a weight discrepancy, but it was very small. I mean, I watched him weigh in. I want to say it was like 8 pounds.
Floyd has called out Jake to fight Tank because his fight is now in danger. Floyd Mayweather has been very honest about how good Jake Paul is at fighting. He agrees that Paul has done well in the crossover world and finds him interesting, but he doesn't go so far as to call him a real boxer. Mayweather has said that a fight with Paul would be too easy, which means he doesn't think Paul would be a real challenge for someone of his caliber. He has also made it clear that Paul has found a profitable niche, but that the gap in his training, skill, and competition level would be shown if he fought a world-class fighter.
But there are many people who believe you're the most talented fighter ever, period. So whatever you say to this question, I think is important. Are you impressed? Does he have boxing ability, or is he just an entertainer who has a lot of fans and can promote a fight and has fought lesser opponents, or is he actually talented?
As long as he continues to fight MMA guys and YouTubers, he's gonna continue to look good and shine. But once he fights a real fighter that can really fight, it's not gonna be that good.
Does he have the ability, with what you've seen, to continue to mold himself into somebody who can actually? He told me before his goal is to fight Canelo, so that's where his mindset's at.
It get fucked up by Canelo.
Also, Mayweather's refusal to agree to rematches made a lot of fans think there were still unanswered questions. Jake, on the other hand, has often beaten opponents who are too old, past their prime, or too small for him. Mayweather has warned people about how good Jake Paul's opponents are, but he has also said that Paul is fun to watch. He told Paul that if he gets involved with a real boxer, it could bring him to light.
And then my second question is just with like Logan Paul and then Jake Paul now fighting Mike soon in the summer. What do you think defines a real boxer? Because I feel like people are still confused on if Jake Paul is a YouTuber boxer or a real boxer. How do you feel like you get out of that bubble to make somebody a real boxer?
What he's doing is, I mean, kind of cool. If he can continue to steal money and they match him the way they match him, I can't knock his hustle. So if they can match him the way how they've been matching him, more power to him.
Meanwhile, some boxers and experts praise Floyd Mayweather for more than just his speed and defense. They also like the way he thinks. They say that what really made him dangerous was his strong belief in himself, that he was sure he could beat anyone. Tony Jeffries, for example, has said that Mayweather was able to control fights before they even started because he was sure of himself and had a sharp mind.
Really strong mindset, they're really confident, they really believe in themselves, but you need more than that mindset. You need to have the full package of everything that I'm talking about, what Floyd has got.
Fighters should only want to get better. The more you win, the more you should work hard. If you think about losing, you're gonna lose. All I ever thought about was winning. So that's all I know.
Floyd would visualize his success before he even stepped into the ring. there was no alternative to him but winning. And this mindset isn't just for boxing, it's for all walks of life. And I've actually done a full video talking about how I used this mindset of visualization to win my Olympic medal. And it was an absolute game changer. Now, Floyd used to use this mindset to ease the pressure that he put himself under. And he made himself think like, I'm not under any pressure right now, where he was under immense pressure.
Pressure either makes you or break you. Well, you see where I'm at, so it's obvious that I'm the type of athlete or I'm the type of entertainer that can deal with pressure. There's never no pressure.
Now, if you watch his fight in 2013 when he fought Canelo Alvarez, Canelo came in a young, strong, undefeated fighter, but by round 2, Floyd kind of had him figured out. He was reading Canelo's jab. He would slip outside and then come back with a clean counter punch, then move his feet and get out of the way. He basically had the full fight under control, and he was controlling the full rhythm of the fight. He was forcing Canelo to fight at his pace. And this is what he would do in all of his fights. He would get his opponent to do what he wanted them to do without their opponent even realizing it, which is what we call boxing IQ. Now, even though I'm not a fan of Floyd Mayweather personally, because of the time when I did meet him, what he said to me made me just feel like this guy is a piece of and he lost a big fan in me.
Reports also say that Mayweather wants to fight Mike Tyson, which some experts see as more than just an attempt to make more money. People think Floyd made this move to show that he is still the talk of the town even though he is retired. All eyes are on the fight between Davis and Paul. And Mayweather doesn't want anyone, not even his protege, to shine brighter than him. People who know Floyd say this is typical of him. He loves attention, competition, and leaving a memory. Floyd's reported fight points to a bigger theme while Gervonta and Jake get ready for their own show. Boxing stars are always fighting to stay current in a sport world that is changing quickly.
That there's so many celebrities and so many people that are known where you can get somebody and they can sell tickets to events. That's what kicked off the social media influence boxing that Jake Paul was birthed from. Now we're in a vacuum. And so there's going to be a lot of conversation about that and continuing to do that. In this particular video, though, I want to get into the mind of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and why Floyd Mayweather Jr. would do this. There is the money, but there's also the competitive nature of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and him not wanting to have other people think that they're a bigger star than he is. Floyd Mayweather Jr. has not been able to really launch his star outside of the sport of boxing, so he continues to do exhibitions. Now, what I think is that Floyd Mayweather Jr. is announced it at this point in time with Mike Tyson in order to take advantage of the publicity heading into the Gervonta Davis Jake Paul fight, which is, I do believe, set for November. So now that they have all the publicity and all that stuff coming out from that, he's going to piggyback on it and then try to have it in the beginning of next year sometime and actually make it a bigger event than Gervonta versus Jake Paul. And it probably will be. And the reason that I say that is because of Mike Tyson. Mike Tyson is bigger than Floyd. Let me say Mike Tyson. I think Mike Tyson's bigger than Floyd Mayweather. I still think his name is bigger than Floyd Mayweather, even though I know Floyd has made more money in the pay-per-views. And I think that had a lot to do with, again, social media area and otherwise. But the combination of Floyd Mayweather Jr. and Mike Tyson and the question about what is going to happen in that fight.
Several news sources say that Jake Paul's team is actively reaching out to a number of well-known fighters as possible replacements for Davis, whose upcoming fight is seriously in doubt because of legal claims. There are more and more rumors that Jake Paul's team has called out to Terence Crawford as a possible replacement opponent since the original fight with Gervonta Davis is in trouble. In the past few days, names have been thrown around, but nothing has been officially announced yet. What sets this apart is Crawford's high level of skill in the sport. His participation would make any fight much more important and legitimate. However, Crawford hasn't agreed to anything in writing, and the talk seemed to be very new and speculative. Fans are wondering if Paul's team is suddenly switching their focus to a more serious and heavyweight opponent because of all the talk.
This fight is still technically scheduled for November 14th to air on Netflix, but it's basically hanging on by a thread. But the team, Jake Paul's team, have reportedly gone and contacted all the fighters, and the names that they're looking at contacting to fight as a late replacement: Ryan Garcia, Terence Crawford, Francis Ngannou, I mean, come on, we'll get into them, and Nate Diaz. So he's already fought Nate Diaz, but let's go through them one by one. I mean, Ryan Garcia, he's a similar size to Gervonta Davis. He's bigger though. Davis made him come down, didn't he? Then he beat him up. So that was Ryan Garcia. Quite a bad loss for Garcia, that was, because he was up for the fight, but Gervonta Davis beat Garcia. Garcia also isn't really big enough to be jumping in with Jake Paul, but that's a fight that potentially could happen. Garcia is a massive name. He's a big he's a social media star. He's a big public figure. Loads of followers on Instagram and social. I mean, his Instagram's over 1 million, I'm sure it is. He's just a big name, good looking kid, great fighter, fast stands, and he's quite controversial as well. So that'd be a good fight, but the weight disparity, again, it's too big. So for me, when I say it'd be a good fight, it'd be interesting to see how Ryan Garcia would go in against Jake Paul. But to be honest, Jake Paul's far too big for him. Who else we've got? Terence Crawford. I can't see Terence Crawford entertained in this, but then you never know, do you? If the old bunts make sense, then it makes people do strange things. And Terence Crawford's getting on now, what is he, 37, 38 years old, had that great win against Canelo. Would he jump in with Jake Paul for mega money? Probably. He'd paced him as well. I mean, Terence Crawford would be too much for Jake Paul, even though he's up at 168 in his last fight, super middleweight, my old weight division. So I don't think Jake Paul would fight him. Francis Ngannou, I mean, why even chuck Ngannou in the mix? Ngannou would just hammer him, he's too big. I mean, he talked about Anthony Joshua, that never happened, did it? It's a load of bollocks. He talked about fighting AJ, then announced he's fighting someone the size of one of AJ's legs in Gervonta Davis. So for me, that's nothing. And the Nate Diaz fight, he's already fought him. It was a rubbish fight, and he's already beaten him.
A lot of people were already against Jake and Tank's fight. Another boxer, Carl Froch, has harshly criticized the planned fight between Jake Paul and Davis, calling it basically a rubbish fight. According to Froch, the fight isn't really competitive because Paul doesn't have much practice boxing and Davis is much better at it. He said Paul was more of a show boxer than a real contender and claimed that real boxing purists would not be able to watch the match. For Froch, it's not so much about who wins as it is about whether the fight should even be taken seriously as a real match between two top pros.
Joke, absolute clown world, really fitting for fake Paul, the clown, because it's a clown show. You're putting him in with somebody who's 100 pounds lighter. I mentioned the weight disparity before, getting on for 7 stone. It's a weight-governed sport. It should not be happening. He's too small, Gervonta Davis, against the big Jake Paul, who's in the gym a lot, training. Apparently he's fit and strong and he has a go and he can fight a little bit, which I disagree with because I don't think he can. He's not able to fight a little bit. He certainly can't box. But these allegations against Gervonta Davis, they're very serious allegations. Anybody that's laying hands on women needs to be shut down straight away. They need to be, for me, they need to be locked up and the key thrown away. You shouldn't touch women.
Amir Khan said that the match was a terrible mistake. Khan slammed the organizers for agreeing to what he called torture. He stressed that hurting someone is not fair to Davis and that they should not go in there. According to reports, Paul weighs more than 200 pounds, while Davis has never fought above 140 pounds. Khan called the matchup dangerous and unfair. And he asked Davis if he just wants to make money and quit the sport.
I think Jake Paul, he gets on my nerves a little bit. I think the way he looks himself, the way he acts, and I think he's just full of himself as well. And he thinks he can fight. And he's only been boxing for what, like a year. But he's been very lucky though. He has he's had some good wins against like MMA fighters. He's a little bit heavier than me, but I don't mind putting the pounds on just to beat him up.
Some critics are wondering why the fight had to be called off in the first place, saying that Tank is still physically fit and ready to fight even though he is still having legal problems. They say that many athletes have fought while being charged, which suggests that the choice may have been made more for the sake of public opinion and the company's image than out of real concern for the fighters. A lot of fans think that the promoters should have let the fight go ahead as planned if Tank was still ready to fight, especially since there was so much interest and money put into it. Some, though, say that's not true because the accusations are so serious. Keeping the event going could have led to a huge backlash against everyone involved.
So, did Gervonta Davis's cancellation of his fight with Jake Paul, was it the right decision from Jake Paul, his team, and Netflix? Did they make the right move to cancel the Gervonta Davis fight? I want to know y'all thoughts in the comment section. We'll probably do a longer video on this later, but I want y'all to interact and let me know y'all thoughts. Now that we know the fight is canceled, they announced it late yesterday while we were in the middle of our live stream. What is your thoughts? Do you think the fight should have been canceled? Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'll see y'all soon. Peace.
Would you have liked the fight to be called off? Press the like button and join the group. I'll see you all soon. Peace. What do you think about all of this? Should Floyd Mayweather really fight Jake Paul right now, or should the organizers wait until Tank's legal problems are over? Share your ideas in the box below.